Okay, moving on to the co-main event of this UFC Fight Night at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the middleweight division, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez takes out Edmen Shahbazyan by TKO via elbows and punches. The official time, 1 minute and 1 second of round number 3. Omar, start us off this time. What did you think about this performance from Fluffy Anthony Hernandez?
Yeah, man, this was interesting. I think a lot of what we talked about last week kind of came to fruition. I think that Edmen Shahbazyan looked good early. He was very crisp, very on point in round one. Was able to do a lot of nice things in round one, a lot of good strikes, a lot of good movement. But Hernandez is a fucking dog, and that was what we talked about last week. And he's a very unorthodox fighter, especially when it comes to the hands. Especially, he's trying to take you down. He's trying to work on his ground game, make sure that that's the focal point of his approach to the fight. But he can crack. And once he got past round one, Shahbazyan started to slow down, and Hernandez doesn't. And that's where we really start to see the momentum shift. And he just ate Shahbazyan towards the end by the end of that fight. I mean, it just got progressively worse. And I think we had talked about, I don't know if I was the only one. I feel like I picked a submission. I feel like we all, or at least me and Mark, might have picked a submission.
Yeah, I said round 3 sub. I thought I was going to get it too, but
same. But he didn't even really want to risk it. I mean, he was battering Shahbazyan. Shahbazyan didn't really have an answer for it, so there was no need to try to sink in a choke. He could just
he threw the arm under the neck a couple times, but as soon as it wasn't there right away, he just went back to punching.
And again, I don't think he needed to, right? It's like I feel like he probably would have went for it more if he wasn't doing work in the ground and pound as well, because Shahbazyan was spent by that third round. Yeah. But I felt like Hernandez just needed to keep working like he did, and he got the finish exactly the way he needed it to happen. I thought it was a great performance for Hernandez, and I'm telling you, man, that kid continues to put on these performances that just force people to take him seriously.
Yeah, man. Mark, are you taking Anthony Hernandez seriously yet? And what were your key takeaways from this fantastic performance from him?
Oh, I've been taking Anthony Hernandez seriously for a minute. I'm actually looking back right now because I'm trying to remember which fight it was. So
it was right after he subbed that
the Vieira fight. Yeah, it was Vieira.
Yeah.
Fight. From that fight, I was like, this dude's pace is fucking stupid. And then when he did it again to Josh Fremd, I was like, okay, we're all the way on board. But add another tired victim to the list. Like Omar said, first couple minutes of the fight, Shahbazyan was actually looking sharp as hell, to his credit. But once Hernandez was able to get a sense of the range and then close it, the fight changed, then never changed back. It just became a grueling, nonstop, high-paced fight, also known as every Anthony Hernandez fight. And Edmen was trying to battle, to his credit. He had a couple moments in there. He got out of a bunch of tough spots, especially that guillotine in round 2 that looked tight. But the pace is just unbelievable. Like, there's literally not a second to breathe when Anthony Hernandez has a hold of you. And he does it again. He wins a fight via attrition, just via making your body not have anything left to give. And that's really what it always is for him. He just breaks guys, and he broke another guy. So there's probably going to be a certain level of fighter that can withstand that pace and maybe make Anthony Hernandez look bad when that pace is not a weapon he can lean on. But at this point, I am becoming very interested to see who that man might be, because this is a hell of an impressive run, and I'm loving it.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, I'm going to say this. Anthony Hernandez is quickly now becoming one of my favorite guys to watch. Like, he's on a card, I'm like, ooh, we have some Fluffy Hernandez violence coming our way. I will say this, too. A lot has been said about his pace and his motor and his cardio, but my man has great technique. He's not just he doesn't just swarm his opponent and makes it a barn burner. It's that he overwhelms you with crowding you and constantly throwing techniques at you. He has disgusting elbows. He has so many tools, and he's good everywhere. He's just good everywhere. I thought Shahbazyan came out with really good aggression in round one. I think he tried to sort of catch Hernandez early, kind of catch him asleep, so to speak.
Yep.
But Hernandez weathered that storm, and like you guys both already said, he just overwhelmed Shahbazyan with his pace. And great win, man. Let's keep going with this guy and see how far he can go. That being said, Omar, segues are fun. How far is he going to go with this next fight? If you were the matchmaker, who would you match him up with at middleweight next?
It's a real goddamn problem because I kind of want to move him up pretty significantly, but everybody is pretty booked up, which is really unfortunate. And with the momentum that this kid has, I really hate the idea that he has to sit out for a little bit and just kind of let things play out, right? Just to kind of throw a couple names out there, I guess. And it seems like, Mark, you probably have the same issue I do trying to figure out where the hell he goes. But I do want to see him against guys like Chris Curtis at this point, right? The Chris Curtises, the Gaslams, the Brendan Allens. I think a fight with Joe Pyfer at this point would even be pretty fun. I think he deserves a little bit more than Joe Pyfer, but I think Joe Pyfer is a little bit overrated right now. I think his ranking is based not just on his performances, but also the hype that he's been getting as well. I don't know if he's earned the spot where he's at potentially. And I just think it would be a good fight. So I'm not really sure where you go with him, but those are a few of the names that I would like to see. So if he does have to sit out and wait till some of those fights, finish and progress and manifest, then that's what needs to happen. But any of those fights I think would be fun and a great matchup for him.
Mark, what do you think?
I'm pulling the trigger on moving him up the line. Omar mentioned a lot of these guys are booked, so it makes it a little tricky on what to do with him. I'm going up to Jack Hermanson. I don't want him to fight another non-ranked fighter at this point. I feel like he's earned it. I feel like him and Jack Hermanson is an interesting fight. Jack was supposed to fight back in April against Brendan Allen. He had to pull out because he got some type of injury, but apparently it's nothing that's a huge deal. So I'm imagining at some point in the near future he's going to be ready to sign on for a new fight here. That's where I'm going.
Okay. Love it.
I like it.
Okay, let's move on.
Well, can I just say real quick?
Oh, yeah, please.
Shahbazyan,
So sorry.
Just because Omar mentioned it, my Shahbazyan matchup was actually going to be Joe Pyfer. I feel like they're almost similar guys in that they have looked really good at times, but Shahbazyan kind of keeps faltering. Pyfer, it's only been a couple fights. You're like, does he deserve this hype? I say put them both in there, see if one can knock the other out and get it going for himself.
At this point, Joe Pyfer is like, you roll the dice. He might get a knockout. He might not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder, does anybody know what
Great point.
oh God, what they got RoboCop fighting Dennis Tululian.
Say it right.
Yeah.
Is that not how I say it?
Hobocop.
I thought you were saying Tululian.
Remember, Hobocop got KO'd in his last fight by a debutante, so...
Yeah, so now he's back to just RoboCop.
Yeah.
He's got to earn the hobo.
He got knocked down the line.
He got knocked out by somebody that doesn't have a wiki page. That's no good. It's no good.